even if you sleep great, you could still benefit from taking melatonin, and you want to take as much melatonin as you can tolerate.
So Dave, melatonin, well, it really is a miracle molecule. Now, everybody knows I take 600 milligrams a night. Melatonin, as Dave has pointed out, does not suppress your own production because it is not regulated by a negative feedback loop. People only associate melatonin for sleep and jet lag. That's not my primary motivation behind melatonin. Melatonin is a very potent antioxidant and free radical scavenger. And it's free radicals that damage DNA and lead to cancer. That's why melatonin can be used to treat and prevent cancers like breast, prostate, and colorectal cancer. Also protects your mitochondria. It does so many wonderful things that people just don't know about. But like I said, if they did, it should be front page news every day. So I know you're a big proponent of melatonin. So tell me how you use it in your population of men, Dave, that you're consulting with.
Well, melatonin's just so damn good for you. That's why it's not front page news, right? There's no money to be
Right.
made in it.
That's right.
So melatonin is wonderful. As you said, melatonin is the body's chief antioxidant. And I, for the last 6 months, have been going on a deep dive down. Is it Dr. Russell Reiter? Is that his surname?
Yeah.
There's also a guy, Dr. John Lawrence. I'm probably pronouncing it wrong.
Yeah,
But
he wrote the
melatonin
molecule.
miracle. Yeah. So I've watched all the content. I have gotten myself recently up to 120 milligrams of melatonin, and I titrated up quite gradually. Well, not that gradually. I titrated up very gradually to about 20, and then I moved up in greater increments from there. And I think there are a lot of misconceptions around melatonin, particularly the idea that you only want to take it in minimal amounts occasionally if you're changing time zone or whatever. That was on this idea that melatonin has some kind of negative feedback loop like testosterone does. That was debunked a decade ago, thoroughly. It's just that a lot of the people on the internet who speak very loudly about things, who are often selling other sleep supplements, by the way, are saying you want to avoid melatonin for all these reasons, but you also want to take a whole bunch of other antioxidant supplements to do the same thing that melatonin does.
Right.
It's ridiculous. So melatonin is fantastic, and I have found it to be particularly fantastic for people who have, well, basically, the more stress the body is under, the more you can benefit from taking melatonin, because melatonin is going to support the body being under stress. The thing that I have particularly found melatonin to shine for is intractable chronic inflammatory conditions like autoimmune conditions. Particularly endometriosis in women. I don't really work with women, but the other thing that I found it really useful for is people with spinal issues or physical pain that prevents them from getting comfortable at night and sleeping properly. 2 birds, 1 stone. So melatonin is a profound antioxidant, and a lot of the things that people are looking for antioxidant benefits for, melatonin is wonderful for. We have incredibly high levels when we're children, and that's why children tend to be more protected against these diseases of aging that we see in older populations. But the other thing that we also have to consider is that when they're looking at studies and saying to take 3 to 5 milligrams of melatonin because that restores natural production of older people who are living in a world that's artificially lit 24/7. That's not optimal melatonin levels.
Right.
So I think that you should take as much. I think every single person should take as much melatonin as they can tolerate. I think a lot of people, there's a couple of theories as to why some people get that groggy morning after effect. One is that they metabolize it slowly and should take it before dinner. The other is they may be having a sort of detox reaction. I think both of those are viable, but I think the best way to do it is just titrate up gradually over time. Make sure you get morning sun, which you should be doing anyway. And I have only found more benefits have come from taking more melatonin. I do have 2 spinal injuries, which may be why I get so much benefit from it. But every time I take more melatonin, my wife notices that my skin looks better. My wife notices that I physically look better. So melatonin's wonderful. I highly recommend. Like when people say, "Oh, I sleep well, so I don't need to take melatonin." No.
There you go.
No. Melatonin we're looking at it like pregnenolone and DHEA. We're looking at it as an antioxidant, protective, health promoting, health restoring agent. It's particularly useful if you're sick. And even if you sleep great, you could still benefit from taking melatonin. And you want to take as much melatonin as you can tolerate. And you want to take a micronized pharmaceutical grade version of it so that it gradually gets released in the gut, so you don't get a big spike that's just going to throw your body's rhythm out. And as you know, melatonin, wonderful.
Yes, you're dead on, Dave. So people understand that, look, the typical dose, as David pointed out, for sleep is typically a low dose that's recommended. But if you start looking at the medical literature, look at some of the meta-analysis that have been done, The anti-cancer effects come in around 20 to 40 milligrams per night. So it's a much higher dose. And there's no harm in taking more than that. Once again, people will spend an extraordinary amount of money for antioxidants and all these foods and drinks and supplements. None of them hold a candle to melatonin. None of them. Remember, hormones are bullets, supplements are BBs. It's just the way that it is. So yes, as you know, I'm a huge proponent of melatonin. And now look, when you read the book by John, look, we're not going to take it rectally, okay? We're going to take it orally like the studies do, okay? So you can't vet every book, and there's some good things in there, but, sometimes, there's these books and you have to say, no, where did that really come from? So no, let's don't take melatonin rectally, people. If you read The Miracle Molecule by John, let's take it orally like they do in the studies. So that's an important, fact to point out. All right.